The city lights were shining bright as the black car moved slowly through the busy streets. It was late evening. The air was cool. People were walking fast, talking, laughing, but inside the car everything was quiet. Elaine Thomas sat quietly, in the back seat. She was tired, but calm. Her eyes looked out the window. She had just come from a 14-hour flight. Her body was exhausted, but her mind was sharp. She wore a simple black coat and clean black shoes. Around her wrist was a golden bracelet. Expensive, but not too flashy. Her face was clean, her hair tied back neatly. She looked graceful and powerful, even in silence. The driver glanced in the mirror. "Ma'am, we're almost at the hotel," he said with respect. Elaine nodded gently. "Thank you, Daniel." As the car pulled up in front of Grand Royal Hotel, the lights from the entrance lit up the street. It was one of the most expensive and well-known hotels in the city. Celebrities, politicians, CEOs. This was where they stayed. The doorman stepped forward quickly and opened the door. But as soon as he saw Elaine, his smile faded just a little. Elaine noticed it, just for a second. But she said nothing. She stepped out with grace and walked into the giant lobby. The lobby was made of white marble. A golden chandelier hung from the ceiling. Expensive perfumes floated in the air. A soft piano played in the background. Elaine walked straight to the reception desk. The receptionist, a young woman with perfect makeup and a cold smile, looked up. Then down, then up again. "Yes?" she asked with a flat tone. Elaine smiled politely. "Good evening. I have a reservation. The name is Elaine Thomas." The woman started typing. Behind her, a man in a suit, the floor manager, looked over. His eyes narrowed as he saw Elaine. He whispered something to another staff member. Elaine stood patiently. She looked around. Only a few guests were in the lobby. There was no big crowd. No waiting line. After a moment, the receptionist frowned. "I'm sorry," she said. "It seems there's no room available under your name." Elaine kept her calm. "I booked it last week. I also got a confirmation email this morning." The woman glanced nervously at the manager, who now walked over. "I'm the floor manager here," he said, standing tall. "Let me check it again." Typed for a few seconds. "I'm very sorry, Miss Thomas, was it? Yes, unfortunately, the system shows we are fully booked tonight. There must have been a mistake." Elaine tilted her head slightly. "I can see empty rooms on your booking website right now," she said, showing her phone. The manager gave a fake smile. "Oh, those rooms are blocked for VIP guests. We apologize. Nothing can be done now." Elaine paused. She looked into his eyes. There was no honesty there. Only arrogance. Still, she stayed calm. "I understand," she said softly. "Maybe try a hotel downtown?" the receptionist added with a little smirk. Elaine looked around one last time, then nodded. "Thank you for your time." She turned and walked out of the hotel. The staff watched her leave. The manager leaned closer to the receptionist and said, "Not exactly five-star material, is she?" They both laughed quietly. What they didn't know was this: Elaine Thomas was not just any guest. She was one of the most successful tech CEOs in the world. She had built her company from nothing. She had sat in rooms with world leaders. Her net worth was $1.3 billion. But she didn't show off. She didn't wear designer labels. She didn't walk with a crowd. She didn't scream for attention. She walked with grace. And that night, she had been treated like she didn't belong. Elaine got back into the car. Daniel, the driver, looked surprised. "Everything all right, ma'am?" Elaine smiled faintly. "Change of plans. We're not staying here tonight." "Should I take you to another hotel?" She nodded. "Yes, but first, pull over for a moment." The car stopped near a quiet cafe. Elaine took out her phone and made a call. "Hello?" The voice on the other end was her assistant, Maya. "I need you to bring the file," Elaine said. Maya was confused. "Which file?" Elaine looked out the window toward the hotel in the distance. "The acquisition file," she said slowly. "The one about the hotel group." Maya paused. "Wait, are you saying—" Elaine cut her off with a small smile. "Yes. Bring it in the morning. Let's teach them a lesson in class." That night, the hotel staff laughed and enjoyed their shift. They thought they had turned away a regular woman who didn't belong in their golden world. But by tomorrow, they would know exactly who Elaine Thomas was, and the world would watch. As their mistake became a story no one would forget. The sun rose slowly over the city. The streets were waking up. Cars moved. People hurried to work. The world didn't know that something big was about to happen inside the Grand Royal Hotel. But for now, everything was quiet. In a different part of the city, in a clean, quiet hotel room, Elaine Thomas sat by the window, sipping coffee. Her eyes were calm, but her mind was working fast. She had barely slept. Her assistant, Maya, entered the room with a folder in her hand. "I brought it," she said, placing the file on the table. "I can't believe what they did to you last night. Are you okay?" Elaine smiled gently. "I've faced worse." Maya sat down across from her. "You want to go public with this?" Elaine didn't answer at first. She opened the file and flipped through the pages. Inside was information about the Grand Royal Hotel Group. A few months ago, Elaine had been planning to invest in their chain, maybe even buy a large share. The talks were private. No one at the hotel knew who she was, but now, things had changed. "I'm not angry," Elaine said softly. "But I won't let it go either." She looked out the window. "Let me tell you a story," she said. Maya leaned in. She knew Elaine didn't open up easily. "I was 12, Elaine began. "My mom worked 2 jobs. My dad had left us. We lived in a small apartment where the ceiling leaked when it rained." She paused. "One day, I went with my mom to a hotel where she cleaned rooms. She asked me to sit and wait while she worked. I was reading a book when a security guard came. He told me to leave." Maya's eyes widened. "He thought I was a thief," Elaine continued. "I told him my mom worked there. He didn't believe me. He grabbed my arm and pulled me outside." Elaine's hands were shaking slightly now, but her voice stayed calm. "My mom came running, crying, but the damage was done. I remember sitting on the sidewalk wondering why I was treated that way." Maya stayed quiet. "That night, I made myself a promise," Elaine said. "One day I would own places like that. And when I did, no one like me would be treated that way again." Years passed. Elaine worked hard in school. She loved computers. She spent hours in the library, learning everything she could. She got a scholarship to a top university. She studied computer science. She built her first app at age 19. People laughed at her in meetings. Investors didn't take her seriously. She was too young, too black, too female. But she didn't give up. By age 26, her company Elitech became one of the fastest-growing software companies in the country. By age 32, she became a billionaire. Still, she stayed quiet. No loud parties. No interviews, just her work. She didn't want fame. She wanted power with purpose. Back in the present, Maya looked at Elaine with admiration. "So, what now?" she asked. Elaine closed the file and smiled. "Now we let the truth speak for itself." At the Grand Royal Hotel, the morning shift had started. The same manager from last night walked through the lobby with a coffee in hand. He laughed with another staff member, talking about weekend plans. He had no idea what was coming. At 10 a.m., a private black car stopped outside the hotel. Elaine stepped out, wearing a cream-colored dress and sunglasses. She looked calm and confident. People turned to stare. Some took pictures. She walked into the lobby, this time not alone. Maya followed behind her, holding the folder. The receptionist from last night saw her and froze. The manager's smile disappeared. Elaine walked to the front desk. "Good morning," she said. "I believe we have something to discuss." At that moment, a well-dressed older man rushed into the lobby. It was Mr. Dawson, the regional CEO of the hotel chain. He had received a call that morning. He knew who Elaine was now. He came straight to her. "Ms. Thomas, I am deeply sorry," he began nervously. "Please, let's speak in private." Elaine nodded calmly. "Of course." They walked into a meeting room. Maya followed, silent. Once inside, Mr. Dawson began to speak again. "I had no idea. If our staff had known—" Elaine raised a hand. "That's the problem," she said. "If I looked different, if I wore different clothes, would they have treated me better?" Mr. Dawson stayed silent. "I had a reservation. I had money. I came with respect. And I was pushed away," she continued. "You know who I am now. But last night, I was just a black woman in your lobby." Her words were quiet, but strong. Mr. Dawson looked ashamed. "We are prepared to issue a public apology," he said, "and I will personally handle this case." Elaine looked at him, then at Maya. "Don't worry," she said. "I'm not here to sue. I'm here to teach." Outside, news was already spreading. Someone had leaked a photo of Elaine walking out of the hotel the night before. Now people were asking questions. Why did this hotel turn away a billionaire black woman? Is this racism in five-star hotels? The storm was starting, and Elaine was standing right in the center, strong, calm, and ready. As the black woman walked away from the hotel lobby that day, the staff didn't know what storm was about to come. Behind the shiny glass doors of the luxury hotel, whispers started to grow. The receptionist, Jessica, leaned closer to her colleague. "Did you see her clothes?" she said softly. "She didn't look like someone who belongs here." "Yeah, she said she had a reservation, but I didn't find her name," replied Mark, the junior receptionist. But what they didn't know was her name was in the system, just hidden under initials, M.A. Johnson. Back in her car, the woman sat quietly. Her driver, Rafiq, noticed the silence. "Madam, are you okay?" She looked outside the window, her face calm but her eyes sharp. "They didn't even check properly," she said. "I'll handle it, but not yet." She opened her phone and made a short call. No shouting, no anger, just 4 words. "Keep watching that hotel." Rafiq didn't ask questions. He had been with her for 6 years. He knew one thing. When she went quiet, it meant something big was coming. Back inside the hotel, a manager named Peter was reviewing the security footage from earlier. He was not there during the incident, but now he watched the clip carefully. He saw how Jessica looked at the woman, top to bottom, with judgment in her eyes. He saw how the lady stood with dignity, asked calmly, and left with grace. Peter's heart sank. He quickly checked the booking list. There it was, Suite 1902, M.A. Johnson, 3 nights. He froze. Oh no. He ran downstairs. Jessica looked up, surprised. "Sir, is everything all right?" Peter placed the tablet in front of her. "Does this name look familiar?" She leaned in. I don't remember, maybe—" "Think again." You turned her away. Jessica's face turned pale. But she didn't look like— I thought— "You thought. That's the problem." Mark looked down, feeling awkward. Peter didn't shout. He just said firmly, "Fix this! Immediately!" Meanwhile, social media had started buzzing. Someone had secretly recorded the moment in the lobby. The clip showed the woman being denied and walking out calmly. A caption read, "When a woman of grace is judged by her skin, not her worth." People started sharing the video. Comments poured in. She handled it better than most of us. This is 2025. Still this happens? Wait, is that the CEO of MJ Tech? Someone had recognized her. Her full name, Maya Alexandria Johnson, founder of one of the top tech companies in the world. Back at her mansion, Maya sat in her library, reading. Her assistant entered. "Ma'am, it's going viral. 2 million views in 3 hours." Maya nodded slowly. "I didn't want attention," she said softly. "But sometimes the world needs to see." She took out her tablet and opened the hotel's website. Then she smiled. "Let's see how they respond." The hotel PR manager, Nina, rushed into Peter's office. "We need a plan," she said breathlessly. "People are tagging us. News blogs are calling. The woman is a billionaire." Peter rubbed his forehead. "I know. I saw the reservation. Her full name is Maya Johnson." Jessica sat in the corner, speechless. "She even called," Peter continued. "Didn't raise her voice. She just said, 'Keep watching your own staff.'" Nina panicked. "We have to fix this now. Apology, press release, maybe offer her the presidential suite." But Peter interrupted. "No." Nina paused. "What?" Peter looked at Jessica. "She deserves more than an apology. She deserves accountability." That night, Maya got an email. It was from Peter. "Dear Ms. Johnson, we are deeply sorry for the treatment you received at our hotel. This was not just a mistake. It was a failure of our values. We are taking action. The staff involved will be retrained. We invite you again, with full honor and respect. Whether you accept or not, we promise this will never happen again." Sincerely, Peter Grayson, General Manager Maya, read it quietly. She admired the honesty. It was rare, but she did not reply. Not yet. The next day, news channels picked up the story. Reporters stood outside the hotel. Guests started asking questions. Some canceled their bookings. Others wrote online reviews. One guest said, "I've been coming here for 10 years, but after seeing that video, I'm not sure I will again." The hotel was shaking. Behind closed doors, panic spread. But they also knew it was not the end. Because Maya hadn't spoken yet, and the world was waiting. At that same moment, Maya stood in front of a school in a poor neighborhood. She wasn't wearing designer clothes, just jeans and a simple white shirt. Children ran to her. "Miss Maya!" She smiled and handed them books, laptops, toys. This is where she felt at peace. Not in the five-star rooms, not in meetings with billionaires, but here, with kids who had nothing, and yet had dreams. The hotel was quiet that night. The bright chandeliers sparkled above the marble floors, but something was changing inside its walls. People were talking, staff whispered in the hallways, managers made phone calls, and in the middle of all this, Jasmine sat alone in her luxurious suite. She stood near the window looking at the city lights. Her face was calm, but inside her mind was full of thoughts. What happened at the front desk still echoed in her ears, but she wasn't a woman who cried easily. She was a woman of power, a woman with a plan. Suddenly, her phone rang. It was Marcus. Marcus was her personal assistant, smart, loyal, and quick. "Jasmine," he said, "I just got confirmation. The meeting is set. He'll be there." "Perfect," Jasmine replied softly, a slight smile on her lips. "It's time." She changed into a simple black dress, tied her hair neatly, and left her suite. No bodyguards, no luxury car. Just her. She walked out of the hotel quietly, unnoticed by the staff who had once ignored her. She took a taxi to a small restaurant at the edge of the city. It was nothing fancy, just clean, quiet, and hidden. In a corner booth sat a man in a gray suit. He stood up when he saw her. "Ms. Jasmine," he greeted politely. "Mr. Cooper," she replied, shaking his hand. Mr. Cooper was no ordinary man. He was the regional director of hotel operations, the man who controlled every branch of the luxury hotel chain in the country. "I received your message," he said. "You wanted to meet privately." Jasmine sat down. She didn't waste time. "I want to buy this hotel." Mr. Cooper blinked. "Excuse me?" "You heard me," she said. "I'm offering double the market price, but I want full control. Staff, rules, management, everything." Mr. Cooper looked shocked. "But why this hotel? There are dozens of others." "I have my reasons," she said, her voice calm but firm. He paused. "You do know it's not for sale. It's under contract." "I also know," Jasmine cut in, "that the owners are in financial trouble. I've seen the reports. They're open to offers, and I have lawyers already in contact." Mr. Cooper stared at her for a long time. "You're serious," he said finally. Jasmine nodded. "Very." After a long silence, he asked carefully, "Was it something that happened?" Jasmine smiled. "Let's just say I like fixing broken things." The meeting ended quietly. No loud promises, no handshakes of victory, just a soft thank you and a quiet walk back to the taxi. Back in her suite, Jasmine looked into the mirror. Her eyes were tired, but determined. Tomorrow would be different, because tomorrow, the hotel wouldn't know what was coming. The next day, the hotel was still full of whispers. Some staff were scared, some were angry, and some were just confused. No one knew what was really happening. Everyone only knew one thing: something big was going on. In the morning, a black car arrived again. It stopped right in front of the hotel. Two men in black suits stepped out. They looked around with sharp eyes. Then, the back door of the car opened, and she stepped out, the same woman they had once turned away, Miss Evelyn King. This time, no one stopped her. The hotel manager himself came out, nervous and sweating. "Good morning, ma'am," he said in a low voice. "Welcome back to the Royal Pearl Hotel." Evelyn didn't smile. She looked him in the eyes and simply nodded. She wasn't here to make friends. She was here for business. She walked through the lobby with power in every step. People moved out of her way. She looked around slowly, as if remembering everything. The rejection, the insult, the cold looks. She didn't forget. She took the elevator to the top floor, the VIP meeting room. Only the richest and most powerful people ever entered that room. Today, it belonged to her. Inside, a long table waited. On it were bottles of water, small notebooks, and silver pens. The walls were made of glass, showing the city's skyline. A woman from her team stood near the window holding a tablet. "Ma'am," she said softly, "everyone is ready." Evelyn nodded. "Let them in." One by one, important people entered the room. City officials, business leaders, journalists. All of them had received a special invitation from EK Enterprises, the name of Evelyn's company. Everyone was curious. Why had she called this meeting? Why here, in this hotel? When everyone was seated, Evelyn stood at the front. She looked around. Then she began. "Good morning," she said, her voice calm and steady. "Thank you for coming. I am Evelyn King. You may know me now as the CEO of one of the fastest-growing luxury brands in the world. But last week, I was just a woman, trying to check into a hotel. A few people looked uncomfortable. Others leaned forward. They knew what was coming. I was turned away," she continued, "because of how I looked. Not because I had no money. Not because I had no booking. But because someone made a quick judgment about me." The hotel manager, who was sitting near the back, froze in his seat. She turned slightly, pointing to a large screen behind her. A picture showed up. It was the security footage of her standing at the reception, being refused. Gasps filled the room. "This is what many people like. Me go through," Evelyn said. "Even when we've worked hard. Even when we've succeeded. We're still not treated fairly." There was silence in the room. "But I'm not here today for revenge," she said. "I'm here to change things." She clicked a button. Another slide appeared. "I am proud to announce the launch of the Open Doors program. It's a new training and awareness program for luxury hotels. It will teach hotel staff how to welcome all guests with respect, no matter their color, background, or appearance. Some people clapped, others nodded. And here's the surprise, she continued. The first hotel to be offered this program is this one, the Royal Pearl. Eyes widened. The hotel manager's mouth dropped open. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. But, Evelyn said, looking directly at him, only if your entire staff, from top to bottom, agrees to join. And if I don't see real change in 6 months, your hotel will be removed from all my company's official lists. It was a big deal. Her company sent thousands of guests to luxury hotels around the world. Being removed from that list could cost the hotel millions. Everyone in the room now realized she had power, quiet power, respectful power, but also firm power. A journalist raised a hand. Miss King, why give this hotel another chance? Evelyn paused. Then she smiled slightly. Because people deserve the chance to grow. If I only stayed angry, nothing would change. But if I help them see their mistake and learn from it, maybe fewer people will face what I did. The room was silent again. Then slowly, people started clapping. The sound grew louder. Even some hotel staff joined in. The manager stood up. Miss King, he said, nervous, I'm deeply sorry, and I promise we'll take your program seriously. Evelyn looked at him and then nodded. I hope so, she said, because the world is watching now. Outside the meeting room, a group of reporters waited. They had heard the whispers. They had seen the black car. Now they were ready to break the news, and when Evelyn King walked out, straight and proud, cameras flashed. Her story was about to go viral, but not just because she was rich, not just because she had been insulted, but because she turned pain into power, and she was just getting started. The next morning, the hotel was buzzing with whispers. Everyone had seen the black car leave the hotel gates the night before. Rumors flew from one staff member to another. Who was she? Why did the general manager drive her himself? She's definitely someone important. Maya, the receptionist, couldn't focus. Her hands were shaking as she sorted papers. She knew she had messed up. But it wasn't just guilt she felt. It was fear. Something big was coming. She could feel it in the air. Mr. Clark, the hotel owner, had not shown up yet. That was unusual. He always visited the hotel lobby in the mornings. He liked to watch the guests and greet the rich ones. But today, he was silent. Missing. At around 10 a.m., a black SUV pulled into the driveway. A man in a navy suit stepped out. Behind him, the doors opened again, and out stepped Vanessa Williams. Her face was calm. Her walk was graceful. She was wearing a clean white blouse, black trousers, and heels that echoed on the marble floor. This time, no one dared stop her. Mr. Allen, the general manager, rushed forward. "Good morning, ma'am," he said with deep respect. "Please come this way." Staff stood frozen. Some tried to smile, some looked down, ashamed. But all eyes followed Vanessa as she walked with power and purpose. They entered the main conference room. The doors closed behind them. Inside, a meeting was already waiting. The hotel owner, Mr. Clark, looked nervous. Two men in suits sat beside him, flipping through papers. They were lawyers. One of them stood up when Vanessa entered. "Ms. Williams," he said, shaking her hand. "Thank you for your time." Vanessa smiled politely and took her seat at the table. Mr. Allen stood behind her like a soldier ready to protect a queen. Mr. Clark cleared his throat. "Ms. Williams, I want to start by offering my—" But Vanessa raised her hand gently. "There's no need to speak empty words, Mr. Clark," she said. Her voice was soft but firm. "We both know why I'm here." The lawyer nodded and opened a folder. "This hotel violated anti-discrimination laws. What happened to Ms. Williams was not only unprofessional, it was illegal." Mr. Clark wiped sweat from his forehead. We didn't know who she was, he said quickly. Exactly, Vanessa said, now turning to face him. You didn't know me, and yet you judged me. That's the problem. There was silence in the room. Vanessa leaned forward slightly. Let me tell you something about myself. I am the CEO of Williams Global Holdings. We invest in real estate, tech, and hospitality. Last year, our revenue crossed $18 billion. Mr. Clark's eyes widened. I was considering buying this hotel, she continued, to turn it into a training center for underprivileged youth who want to work in hospitality. But after what happened at your front desk, I changed my mind. She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. Mr. Allen stepped forward. Ma'am, if I may. He glanced at the lawyers, then back at Vanessa. We deeply regret the mistake. I personally apologize on behalf of all management. I was shocked when I found out. I know, she said. You treated me with dignity after the damage was done, but that doesn't fix the system. The lawyer on Vanessa's side placed a contract on the table. Here is a new proposal, he said. Ms. Williams is still interested in this property, but only under one condition. Mr. Clark looked confused. What condition? She buys the hotel. Full ownership. And every single person who participated in discrimination will be removed. There was a long silence. Mr. Clark looked at the paper, then at Vanessa. You want to own the hotel? I already could have bought 10 of them, Vanessa said, smiling slightly. But now it's not just business. It's personal. She stood up slowly. I'm not here for revenge. I'm here to change how people like me are treated. Without waiting for a reply, she walked out of the room. Outside, the staff waited, nervously. Vanessa looked at Maya, the receptionist. Maya lowered her head, ashamed. Vanessa walked up to her and placed a business card on the counter. This is for you, she said softly. Maya looked confused. You said I didn't look like someone who could afford this hotel, Vanessa said gently. Now I'm giving you a chance to work at a better one. We are opening a new luxury hotel in the city next month. It will be run by people who know how to treat others with respect. Maya's eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry, ma'am. Vanessa nodded. Learn from this. Grow from this. Then she walked away, once again surrounded by quiet awe. That evening, the news broke. Black woman denied entry, now owns the hotel. Vanessa Williams makes bold move to end discrimination. Billionaire CEO changes game in hospitality social. Media exploded. People all around the world praised Vanessa for her courage and grace, and inside the hotel, everyone knew everything had changed forever. The hotel was silent. Everyone was shocked. Mr. Roberts, the hotel owner, looked like he had seen a ghost. His hands were shaking. The woman he had insulted, the woman he had kicked out, was not just rich. She was one of the richest black women in the world. A billionaire CEO. Amanda stood calmly in front of the staff, her lawyer beside her holding a brown envelope. Reporters had now gathered outside. Cameras were flashing. News had already started spreading online. Mr. Roberts tried to speak. Ms. Amanda, I didn't know. Amanda looked at him with calm but firm eyes. That's the problem, Mr. Roberts. You didn't know, and you didn't care to know. The staff looked embarrassed. Some of them lowered their eyes. Others whispered to each other. Even Emily, the receptionist, had tears in her eyes. She had followed Mr. Roberts' orders, but deep inside, she knew it was wrong. Amanda turned to the lawyer. Show him. The lawyer opened the envelope. Inside were documents, official legal papers. The hotel was already being sued for discrimination. But that wasn't all. Amanda spoke clearly so everyone could hear. You remember Mr. Miller? The old man you fired last year because he was too slow? He was my driver for 10 years. He told me about the way you treat people. Gasps could be heard around the room. You remember the cleaning lady you shouted at for bringing her daughter to work for 1 hour? She worked for me once. She told me what happened here. Mr. Roberts was speechless. I've known about this hotel for months, Amanda continued. I sent my team to investigate. I wanted to know how deep the problem was, and what I found was heartbreaking. One of the reporters called out, Amanda, do you plan to shut this hotel down? Amanda didn't answer right away. She looked around the beautiful lobby. Marble floors, golden chandeliers, and expensive furniture. Everything looked perfect on the outside, but inside, the place was rotten. I don't want to destroy, Amanda said slowly. I want to rebuild. Everyone looked confused. I bought this hotel, she announced. Another wave of gasps filled the room. I bought the building, the name, everything. From today, this hotel is under new ownership. Under me. The staff stared in disbelief. Mr. Roberts fell into a chair. He looked like he couldn't breathe. Amanda walked closer to him. You judged me by my skin. You thought I didn't belong here, but I'm not here to punish. I'm here to teach. She looked at Emily and the other staff. You will all be given a chance. A choice. If you want to stay and change, you can. But there will be strict training, new rules, and zero tolerance for discrimination. Tears rolled down Emily's cheeks. She stepped forward. Miss Amanda, I'm so sorry. I knew it was wrong, but I was afraid of losing my job. Amanda nodded gently. Fear makes us silent, but silence supports injustice. Then Amanda did. Something that surprised everyone. She hugged Emily. It wasn't a long hug, but it was enough. Emily cried harder. Mr. Roberts suddenly stood up. You can't do this. This is my family's business. My grandfather built this hotel. Amanda looked at him with calm strength. And you ruined it with your hate. She handed him a letter. You have 7 days to vacate your office. After that, you are not allowed on the property. He tried to protest, but the security guards had already stepped forward. Amanda turned to the rest of the staff. This place will become something new, a place where everyone feels welcome, no matter their color, background, or money. Applause broke out. Some of the employees even smiled for the first time. Reporters pushed forward, asking more questions. Amanda gave them a few minutes, but then raised her hand. I'm not here to be a hero, she said. I'm just one person who had enough. This is about all the people who are treated unfairly every day, and it's time we all say, enough. She turned and walked out of the lobby, the sunlight hitting her face. Her car was waiting outside. Inside the car, her assistant looked at her. That was powerful, Amanda. Amanda smiled, a little tired. It's not the end. It's just the beginning. Back inside the hotel, changes had already started. Posters were being removed. A sign that once read 5-star experience was replaced with everyone welcome. Employees gathered in small groups, talking about what had just happened. For the first time, they were hopeful. And Mr. Roberts? He sat alone in his office, surrounded by silence. He had built a hotel, yes, but he had built it on pride, not kindness. Now he had lost it all, not because of Amanda's power, but because of his own hate. And Amanda? She had not just taken back her dignity. She had changed. Something much bigger. The next morning, the hotel lobby was filled with reporters, cameras, and curious guests. The news of the hotel's mistreatment of the billionaire CEO had spread like wildfire. Everyone wanted to hear what would happen next. Alicia James arrived at the hotel once again. She was calm, dressed in a beautiful white suit, and held a small folder in her hand. Behind her were 2 of her lawyers and her assistant. The hotel staff, now very nervous, watched from a distance. Mr. Walker, the hotel manager, stood at the front desk. His face was pale, and he tried to smile. but his hands were shaking. "Miss James," he said, stepping forward, "I want to deeply apologize for everything. I was wrong. I didn't know who you were. Please forgive me." Alicia looked at him with a calm expression. "It's not about who I am, Mr. Walker," she said softly. "It's about how you treat people, especially when you don't know who they are." The reporters leaned in closer. Everyone in the room was silent. She opened the folder and pulled out a document. "This hotel will no longer be owned by your company," she said. "I have purchased the majority shares from your parent company this morning." Gasps echoed across the room. Mr. Walker's eyes widened in shock. "You bought the hotel?" he asked, his voice trembling. "Yes," Alicia replied. "I don't believe in revenge, but I do believe in change. From today, this hotel will be under new management. We will train the staff on kindness, respect, and equality." The reporters began asking questions. Alicia raised her hand politely to calm them. "This story is not just about me," she said. "This is about every woman, every man, every person who has been judged by the color of their skin, the way they dress, or where they come from. We all deserve respect." Her voice was strong, yet filled with emotion. "I want this hotel to be a symbol of change, a place where everyone feels welcome, no matter who they are." Tears formed in some guests' eyes. A few hotel staff members looked down in shame. Others nodded slowly, realizing their mistakes. Alicia turned to Mr. Walker. "You will no longer be the manager, but I hope you take this as a lesson. Maybe this is your second chance, too." Mr. Walker said nothing. He simply nodded, too embarrassed to speak. As Alicia walked out of the hotel, cameras flashed. People clapped. Some even stood up to cheer. She turned to her assistant and said, "Let's make this world a little better, one place at a time." Later that evening, Alicia sat in her home watching the news. Her story was on every channel. Messages of support and admiration poured in from all over the world. But for Alicia, the most important message came from a little girl named Maya. It was a simple video message. "Miss Alicia, I want to be strong like you when I grow up. Thank you for showing the world how to be kind." Alicia smiled. That one message made everything worth it.